disease. And just to bring it up in COVID, they knew in early 2020, there was a paper that came out of Israel and another one that came out of Canada where they pointed out that if people had periodontal disease, easily treatable, brush your teeth, you were 8 times more likely to die from COVID if you got COVID. 8 times.
Interesting.
Not 8%. Right. 8 times.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is you're allowing it to go straight from here to a systemic infection.
Yeah.
You're not slowing it down in the mucus at all.
Yeah.
And you would have thought that Vivek Murthy, I love saying that name, you would have thought that our Surgeon General or Rochelle Walensky would have come out and said, yo, people, brush your teeth. Not that hard. Brush your teeth. But they didn't, which is absurd because I wasn't the only one that read those papers.
Yes, well, the degree to which everything that we were told about what COVID was and how to deal with it was upside down.
Oh, it frustrates me to no end because I sit there and you pay attention to the news and everybody's talking about, Fauci and Francis Collins and where it came from and how it was. And, we should prosecute Fauci. And I agree. Something needs to be done there. But I think that the bigger crime is our public health response. Because if they had actually just made one decision right, it would have been a flash in the pan. It would have been nothing, gone.
Oh, there's no question that it was our response that caused almost all of the harm.
Oh, yeah.
Because let's say that we had done nothing. We would have been better off. At a national level. Well, we would have been better off because doctors would very quickly, based on the experimentation that is a natural part of medicine, have discovered that we had drugs already in the pharmacopoeia that were safe and managed almost any case of COVID. And we were not allowed to discover that because those drugs were forbidden. So everything about COVID, from the production of the virus to the behavioral modifications, the lockdowns and the masks, especially on children, and the interruption of the natural relationship between doctors, patients, and pharmacists, all of those things made it vastly worse. We would have very quickly figured out how to treat it with near complete effectiveness. And, it's still a tragedy that we had a new virus, but we did not need to turn the world upside down and do all of the harm to people.
All they had to do, really, was go to the CDC's webpage back in 2020, because on the CDC's webpage, it actually had instructions on how to treat a respiratory coronavirus infection. And it was by nasal irrigation. It was by physically washing out the nose and reducing the viral load, and, with salt water.
Yep.
Not even using baby shampoo or xylitol or iodine or any of those, just salt water. And in early 2020, there was a study that was done at Vanderbilt, and you know what it showed? That what worked in 2019 still worked in 2020. Believe it or not.
How could that possibly be the case?
But they had a study that came out, and they had 60 people over the age of 65, all tested positive. They all had symptoms. They just used salt water, and they were all better in under a week. Okay, when we shared that with the government, they told us not to share that. Not only did they tell us, and they sent us a warning letter telling us not to share that, but they also sent them to everybody else in the industry, told them not to share it. Companies you're probably familiar with, like NeilMed, they received a warning letter. Navage, where they shove it up with the pump and vacuum it out the other nose, way too aggressive if you ask me. But they received a warning letter, and they all, put their tail between their legs and said, okay, we won't talk about it. And I'm like, it's because I'm dumb. I just was like, no, I can't go to the lake. They're not letting me go out and travel. I'm going to say something. And so they ended up suing me a year later, but